Hello, welcome back to The Man That Walks, and this is going to be chapter 3. So, just to give you a quick recap, in chapter 2, the man that walks arrived in a town. He was attacked by one of the leaders, and now he's in a prison, makeshift prison, where he's essentially waiting and being tortured because they're convinced that he's someone else. So now we're going to get into chapter 3. There's only going to be 2 more chapters, and then I'm going to start the next part. So this is part 1. Part 1 is going to be the criminal underworld arc. So the next arc will probably be the outbreak, but that's not coming from some time. So I'm probably just going to focus on finishing this up, and then we'll get into the second part. So without further ado, here is chapter 3. Chapter 3. Escape the town. As I regained consciousness from when I passed out earlier, I awoke to a cellmate. The man was in the corner, gunshot wound in his shoulder, and he looked up at me and he said, "Hey, finally awake, huh?" Groggy and dehydrated, all I can do is nod my head. The man gets up, grabs some water, pours it into my mouth. I start to cough, and he helps me up. And he looks at me and he says, "Damn, man, somebody jacked you up pretty bad, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "So what did you do to get a place in here?" The man says, "I got tired of them stealing from my store. They felt like they were entitled to my products because they own the town. I don't accept them as my leaders. So they shot me and put me in here." I could barely understand what he was saying because my consciousness was starting to fade in and out. Then one of the guards came over and said, "Hey, shut the hell up in here. This ain't a damn daycare." We looked up and he walked away. The man leaned closer to me and said, "Hey, we gotta get out of here. What do you think?" I looked at the man and I said, "Yeah, it'd be a good idea, but I'm in no shape to go anywhere in my current condition." The man looked at me and said, "It's all right. If we just wait a few days, you should be healed up. Don't let them torture you. Just tell them you don't know anything. Keep telling them that. Eventually it'll stop beating on you. It'll sink in eventually." I looked at him and said, "Well, if I continue down that path, they'll just fucking kill me, won't they?" The man says, "Probably." And I looked at him and said, "What's your plan for getting out of here?" "Well, the guards aren't very smart, and sometimes the guards fall asleep and they forget to lock the door. A lot of times the door is open, and a lot of times the guards just fall asleep on duty. Most of them don't even check to make sure that it's locked. These guys aren't very bright." So I said, "All right, so what's the plan then? We'll wait 3 days, and then we'll plan our escape." "So what are we going to do after we escape?" "Some of the townspeople are planning to finally rise up and attack them, but we're going to need help." "I don't know if I'll be any help to you, but to get these crazy people out of here, I'll give you a hand." Those are the longest 3 days of my life. And on the 3rd day at night, I was sleeping. The man nudged me and he told me, "Hey, time to move." Sure as shit, the door was unlocked. We exited the door. The man walked up to the guard and choked him. The man passed out. He managed to take his weapon. We headed out. We were in the back of the man told me that we were in an abandoned shack just a few minutes from the town. He told me to follow him. So I did. I followed him into a house. on the outskirts of the town, where about 10 to 15 people were waiting for him. Another man said, "Hey, you're finally back. We didn't think you'd make it. Hey, who's your friend?" The man says, "Oh, this guy, I met this guy. He was getting beat up and getting royal treatment inside of the makeshift jail cell they put us in. But once again, they weren't very bright." It's like, the old man, and I saw a familiar face, the old man. The old man said, "Ha, I see you made it." I looked up and I said, "Yeah, just barely." And that's when, and the man interrupted and said, "All right, we've allowed these people to come in our town and take it over. Now we're going to take it back." Everyone cheered and raised their weapons in the air. Seems like this is going to get worse before it got better. I asked myself, what would this really solve by solving violence with violence? But then I started to think, these people work hard in this town. They don't want somebody coming by and just stealing everything they work for. With that being said, I agreed to help them. So we planned our assault to take back the town and drive out the leader. This plan took about a week. I learned much about the town: secret routes, exits, extra guns, food, supplies, everything I needed. I asked the man that helped me. I said, "How did things get this bad?" The man took a deep breath and said, "When your government is just as bad as the criminals, you won't know who's worse." And I looked at him and I said, "How so?" The reason why all this happened is because the government just gave up. They didn't care anymore. They've cut their losses and they moved on. I said, "That's BS. They have a country to maintain." The only thing they care about is maintaining them. The criminal underworlds have grown too powerful, and the government's trying to keep them in check, but it's just gotten out of hand. Well, that's enough of that. Get some rest. Tomorrow it begins. I said, "Yeah." I wake up, and the man says, "All right, let's go." We sneak onto the outskirts of the town where we see patrols. One of the men was in a prone position with a rifle sitting on top of the hill. He fired 2 shots, taking out both patrolmen. We moved up. 5 of us moved up. Another 5 moved. The other 5 on the other side. We managed to kill all the patrolmen, but now it's just a roving guard that walked through the town. As one of them was, apparently, one of the men who were roving had spotted one of the men that were with our resistance movement. He started screaming, saying, "They're here, they're here. They've killed a couple of our guys." After that's when the bloodshed began. I watched as the townspeople ran, screaming and yelling like they were possessed, firing their weapons, shooting. On the other side, I saw the criminals shooting back as well, screaming, yelling at each other. I too started shooting. I managed to kill a few of them. This firefight ensued for minutes. The old man died, and most of the townspeople died. There was only a few of us left. The merciless leader still had plenty of people left, and he just smiled and said, "Had to mess up a good thing, huh? This rebellion will cost you dearly. We're going to burn this town down and everyone in it." Me, who had been who had been hiding in the building with the others. The man looked at me and says, "Damn, I don't know what we're gonna do. We've lost most of the people, and this guy's hell-bent on burning the town." And as soon as he finished that statement, they began to throw Molotov cocktails into buildings, burning them, shooting into all of them, looking for survivors to kill us off. At this point, all you can smell is smoke and blood. This town had turned to a war zone. How could a peaceful, vibrant town destroy itself? I gather my weapon and I leave. I make my way. I manage to sneak past a few of them, and I get a clear view of the merciless leader. I aim my weapon, breathing heavy. I look down my scope. I fired 2 rounds. They both hit in the back of the chest. The merciless leader fell on his face, dead. I got up and I stared. We managed to help put the fires out, but the town was severely destroyed. When the men found out that their leader was dead, they scurried off like mice. The man said, "Hey, some nice shooting. You got training?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know much of anything these days, but I'm gonna find out." And the man said, "Well, looks like you could use some company. This town's pretty good. This town's pretty done for. There isn't many people left." One of the other villagers says, "Hey, you should stay with us. We need you." The man says, "No, you guys will be fine. I'm sure if you head to the next town over, you should be safe. I'll walk you there. I'll escort you guys there. We'll leave." I was visibly shocked, but I wasn't expecting a companion. But I guess it wouldn't hurt, because 2 minds are better than 1. As we were walking on this path, my mind started to wander once more. How did I know how to do that? Why was I able to kill that man without hesitation? Was it the right thing to do? I don't know. But I have to keep walking. I don't know how long it's been, but I have to keep walking. Alright, so that's the end of chapter 3 of The Man That Walks. Chapter 4 will be coming out soon. So if you're out there and watching and you listen to it, I really appreciate it. If you could throw me a like, comment, subscribe.